Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to crochet this reversible shell rug. Okay, so the stitch pattern makes it very dense and thick, which is perfect. So this is 52 inches long and 30 inches in width, so it's pretty long. All right, let's talk about the materials that you need. I used Karen 1 pound. This is soft sage, and this one here is dark gray. It's dark gray mix or something like that. So I did use a US N. This is a 9mm, and a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. You'll need a tape measure or a ruler to measure out the tassels. This is a foot long, so if you had one of those foot long rulers, that would work. So I did use 2 strands held together. That's why I'm using a larger hook. Again, this is a dense fabric. If you're making a blanket or something like that, I would recommend, if you wanted it to double up still, I would recommend that you use a bigger hook. So maybe a 12mm or even bigger. If you want more of a looser blanket, I mean, it's beautiful, but it is rather thick. Or if you were just planning to use 1 strand, you can go down your hook size, and I think that would make a great blanket as well. Special thanks to Joanne Stores for sponsoring today's video tutorial. The pattern uses 2 strands held together. From one color, I used 2 strands held together, and I used the 9mm crochet hook. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm just going to use 1 strand and a smaller hook as an example. So we'll call this color A and color B. You are sort of working 2 layers, so it is a thicker fabric. Okay, let's get started. So for this stitch pattern, you want to work in multiples of 5 plus 3. For the rug, you are going to chain 103. In this sample, I am going to chain 23. Okay, so working into the 5th chain from the hook, here's your first chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I like to put my thumb right here so that I know this is the stitch I need to work into. It's just something I do so that I don't accidentally work into the wrong chain stitch. Okay, and I am going to work on the back side. So if you turn, you have these bumps on the back side. I like to work in there because it gives it a nicer edge. You can work through the front loops here or the back loops, it's up to you. So we're going to work 1 double crochet, yarn over, into the 5th chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Into the next chain stitch, we're going to work 3 double crochet stitches. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Into the same stitch, we need to work 2 more double crochet stitches. Into the next stitch, we're going to work 1 double crochet. So your shell stitch for this row is worked over 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and it's 1 double crochet, 3 double crochets in the center, and then 1 double crochet on this side. So now the repeat is going to be skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and then you repeat the shell stitches over the next 3 stitches, which is 1 double crochet, 3 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet. And you're going to repeat that all the way across until the last stitch. Do not work into your last stitch. Okay, so skip 2 into the next stitch. I'm going to work 1 double crochet. Into the next stitch, I'm going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet into the next stitch, yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, repeat, skip 2, 1 double crochet into the next, 3 double crochets into the next stitch, 1, 2, and 3, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then you're going to repeat until the last stitch. I do only have 1 set left, so I'm going to skip 2, 1 double crochet into the next, 3 double crochets into the next stitch, 1, 2, and 3. Into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Okay, so we're leaving the last stitch unworked. Now you want to pull this so that you don't lose that loop. We're going to come back to it. If you feel more comfortable, you can place a stitch marker on the loop so that if you do accidentally tug it, it won't fall apart. Especially if you are crocheting around kids, dogs, or cats. Okay, so now we're going to grab the second color and we're going to work a slip knot. We're going to attach it to the right side here. This was our turning chain. So here's our shell. We had these chains here. That's our turning chain. So there's 4 chains here. We're going to work into the top of the 4th chain. So here's your first double crochet. I'm going to insert my hook into this 4th chain. This is from your chain 4 here. This was your foundation. And we're still working on the right side of the work. We haven't turned our work just yet. Okay, so I'm going to place this on my hook and pull it through. And then tighten this. And then I'm going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into the same stitch. Okay, so now we're going to chain 6 and then into this first skipped stitch here from our foundation, we're going to work 1 single crochet. We're not going to do anything in the second skipped stitch here. And we're working on the front of our work. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then following your chain stitches into the first skipped stitch here, you're going to work 1 single crochet. So I'm working through the back bumps just to follow along with these stitches. Okay, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that's 1 single crochet. So you're going to repeat chain 6 and then 1 single crochet into the next skip stitch, chain 6, 1 single crochet in the next. And we're going to end with 1 single crochet into this last stitch here that we skipped from our foundation. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 single crochet into the first skipped stitch. So there's the 2 stitches that we skipped into the first one, 1 single crochet, chain 6, 2, 6, 1 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here is our skipped foundation stitch from our last row. We're going to work 1 single crochet into that skipped chain stitch. So you're always working each color in sets. So this is the first row that we worked. It's basically sort of a setup row so that you can work the shells on the next row. So using the same color, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. 1, 2, turn. Now I'm going to work 1 slip stitch into this very first double crochet stitch here. So this was our shell from the foundation. There's 1 double crochet here, 3 here, 1 here. So into that very first double crochet, work 1 slip stitch. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Let's get that out of the way here. So once you work a slip stitch into the first double crochet, you want to then chain 2. So there's 3 double crochet stitches in the center here. We're going to work into the center of the 3. We're going to also work around this chain 6 here. So when you yarn over and insert your hook into that center of the 3, you want to make sure that the chain 6 is on top of your hook so that you can catch it. Okay, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that's your first double crochet stitch. And see on this side, it brings up your chain 6 to the top of this shell here. Now I'm going to work 4 more double crochets. So you want to work 5 double crochets into that same stitch. So I have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's just the very first stitch that you want to make sure you catch that chain 6, and it should be easier to work around that chain 6 after you work the first one. Okay, so that's going to be a repeat all the way across. You're going to find the center of the next shell. That's my center. Here's 2 double crochets and then 3 here. Okay, so right into that center, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that is 1 double crochet, and we've caught this chain 6. Now you just want to work 4 more double crochets. I'm going to repeat that all the way across. Work 5 double crochet stitches into the center of every shell stitch, catching the chain 6. So it might be easier if you just held it up like this, and then when you go to insert your hook into the center, you'll catch that chain 6. Whatever's easiest for you. I actually worked 1 row without catching the chain 6 because I was distracted watching Netflix, and so I had to pull back. Luckily, I was still on the same row and I had 100 stitches, so that would have really sucked if I had to pull out all those rows just to get back. So just make sure that you catch your chain 6. So here is my last shell stitch. Okay, 5 double crochets. Okay, so now remember how we joined on this side to the 4th chain, the turning chain? We're going to work our last stitch into that same turning chain. So we're going to work 1 single crochet into the same turning chain. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, now we're going to pull this out. Make sure you don't drop it. Place a marker if you would feel more comfortable doing that. Okay, so let me lay this down. Now we're going to come back to this side. Remember I said that each color has 2 rows. So here we've worked 1 row of the red, and then we went back and worked the shells. Now we're ready to pick up this color and work our first row with the chain 6, and then we're going to turn and work shells with the same color. So I'm going to remove this marker. So I'm going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this pattern is really easy. You just have to pay attention at the ends. So now between these 2 shells here, we're going to work 1 single crochet. So just right into the space between the 2 shells, and you'll see this better when I work the chain 6 with this color. So just insert your hook between the 2 shells, 1, 2, and then grab your yarn and work a single crochet. So that's the repeat, chain 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then between these 2 shells, we're going to work 1 single crochet. Chain 6. So you repeat that all the way across. I'm at my last single crochet here between the 2 shells. Chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're going to work your last single crochet into the turning chain. So your last single crochet is going to be worked into the turning chain here. Make sure that your yarn is on the same side. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, so this is where we are going to turn and work our shells. Again, there's 2 rows for every color. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn. So now we're going to work along the shells here into the very first double crochet stitch right here. You're going to work 1 slip stitch. Okay, now you're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to work 5 double crochets in the center of this shell, making sure that we catch the chain 6. So here's the chain 6. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the center. So there's 5 double crochets. You want to work into the 3rd one if you're counting in this direction. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. That's 1 double crochet. See here, I've caught my chain 6. I'm going to work 4 more double crochets. Okay, so you repeat that all the way across, just like you did down here with this color. You're going to work 5 double crochets into the center of every shell stitch, catching the chain 6 back here. Again, it might be easier to pull that up so you can see it. So I use my thumb, again, just a little trick that I do, to place it on this stitch here because I want to work into the stitch right next to it. So 5 double crochets. So this is my last shell stitch. Okay, our last single crochet is going to be in the turning chain. So right here, this was our chain 2 when we worked these shells. And because we're working into these shells here, we're working into this row. So you want to follow that and find the turning chain here. That was the chain 2. You're going to insert your hook into the top of that chain 2 and then work your last single crochet. Now I'm going to pull up a loop or place a marker, and I'm going to pick up this color. Now you want to make sure not to get so tangled, so every so often make sure that you move your yarn as you're switching. This one just kind of crossed each other. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the red. So we've worked our 2 sets. There's the one with the chain 6, and then we turned and worked the shells. Now we're back at this color, so we're switching every 2 rows. Row 5, we're going to chain 6 and 1 single crochet between the shells, just like we did with the other color. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now you can see this a little bit better. This is one shell, that's another. You're going to insert your hook right into the space between those 2 and then work 1 single crochet. So repeat that all the way across, chaining 6, and then between the 2 shells, 1 single crochet. Okay, so now we're just going to repeat rows 2 through 5 until we're happy with the size. So this was our very first row for the 2-row set. It's the best way I can explain it to try and help you remember when to switch colors. So right into the first double crochet, work 1 slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to repeat across just like we did before. Pull up this chain 6, work 5 double crochets into the center of the shell. And then you just repeat that across, working a shell on top of every shell, catching the chain 6. Okay, so you just want to repeat rows 2 through 5 until you're happy with the size. If you're following the rug pattern, go ahead and repeat until you have 31 rows. Okay, so the last stitch is worked into the turning chain. So here is the chain 2 from this row here. We're going to work 1 single crochet into the top of that chain 2. Now we're ready to pick up the other color. Okay, when you start a new color, you don't turn. So we ended here, we went this way and ended here. When you start the new color, you want to pick it up here and work in this direction. So once you have enough rows for your rug, we're going to add the tassels. So I've already added some here. So I started with the dark gray and I ended with the dark gray. You can stop wherever you want. You can keep going to make a blanket if you'd like. I still had plenty of yarn left, but I like this size here. So that's 1, 2, so there's 30 rows plus this last one is 31 rows. So now you're going to cut 12-inch pieces. There's 8 each, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, each group will have 8 strands. we're going to alternate the colors. So if I'm counting the rows here, here's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. Those are the soft sage color. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm just going to place it every other row because I'm going to place the contrasting color on the other side where I'm skipping on this side. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to need 8 sets of these strands. There's 8 in each. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then they're 12 inches, so about a foot long. So you're going to fold it in half, grab a crochet hook. You can use your finger. I have, and it worked just fine. So I still have this row here to place my tassel. So there's a chain 2 here, but I inserted my hook through this stitch here. You can try different places to see what looks best for you. You're going to place this on your hook, pull it through, and then you're going to yarn over and pull it all through this loop. It is a lot of yarn, so if you don't have a big enough hook, just use your fingers. Okay, so when you're done with this side, I did one side at a time because I wanted the loops that are on top to all show on the right side. So if I did that with this one, it would be off when I turned it around. And then again, I did one side at a time. Okay, so I need to place it in this one here. Okay, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to use my finger for this one so you can see that you can use your fingers. Okay, so I've grabbed my loop and then just grab the tail and pull it through. Okay, so now you have your tassels. You can trim it so that it's all the same size. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.